I'm Chanel and welcome back to my channel. You might be watching this video because you are my friend and you like me and you are supporting me, or you might be one of those haters who don't really have anything to do, that's why you're checking out my video. But nevertheless, all of that don't matter today because we are going to be answering an age-old question. What is self-love to you? I think for me personally, it took me years to understand what self-love really was about. When I was 14, I had my very first self-harm experience. I didn't really know what I was doing despite acting as if I knew what I was doing. All I remembered was that even though it hurt a lot, it felt liberating to be able to be in control of my actions for the very first time, because I made the decision to self-harm. I made the decision to hurt myself. So you might be wondering, why would you do that? Are you trying to seek attention? Are you trying to make people pity you or to give you sympathy? And I think that is one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to self-harming. I think that every single person has their own reason for self-harming, and for mine, I'm very sure that it's probably very different from other people who have had experience with self-harm. But for me personally, I knew that I did it because I was feeling so much pain and feeling so much anger, sadness, all these negativity in my body that I did not know how to handle it almost. It was like it was overwhelming me as a person, and the only thing that I knew back then when I did it was to take control, and by taking control I decided to self-harm. And when I turned 16, after going in and out of counseling officers and missing classes because of my binging and purging habits, I just all of a sudden stopped feeling. It's almost as if like everything was paused on a standstill. It's like I didn't know what I was doing anymore, and that's why I felt so tired of hurting myself that I just became numb. So it was the second decision of wanting to take control of myself. But the thing was that I wasn't happy at all. I became very, very mean. I took on the bullying role instead of being the bullied, because I was so sick and tired of people constantly saying that, you're so attention seeking, why are you cutting yourself? It's not a nice look for girls to have scars on their wrists, And I think when I was 16 and I did that, I thought that that was self-love, that version of taking control was self-love, because in my mind, it made sense that I loved myself enough to hurt other people instead of allowing other people to hurt me. And that wasn't self-love. That was just me portraying what I hated about others, what other people did to me, onto myself. Instead of calling that self-love, I would call it self-destruction. I was ruining myself without even knowing that I was doing it. And when I entered poly, when I was 17, I relapsed multiple times because it was the journey. It was a process for me to get used to. Just leaving behind all the people who used to bully me, it was, again, a sense of liberation. But bad people will be everywhere. Even if you leave all these toxic people behind, there will always be more toxic people. I also couldn't control my emotions most of the time. I would always lash out on people, whether those people were hurting me or not. Sometimes people were just offering words of advice or comforting words, and I would lash out on them at like screaming and yelling that you don't understand what I'm going through, you don't understand how much pain I'm in, you don't understand the situation I'm stuck in, and I will never be able to get out of this situation, and your words don't mean shit right now because I feel terrible. And I would just lash out on people. So that was one of it. I couldn't control my emotions. It was constantly very overwhelming to even have a conversation with people. And secondly, people were manipulating my emotions as well to get a reaction out of me, and I gave in. I gave the reaction that they wanted. I caused a lot of drama. I made myself into someone that needed a lot of sympathy. And back then it felt right. It felt like, oh, I had to do this in order to let people to understand how much pain I'm going through. And the healing process is never easy. But self-love was an epiphany to me. It came like a train wreck, and self-love was very simple. It's about taking care of yourself and your well-being and not sacrificing those two important things in order to please other people. So ask yourself, when you are making a choice or a decision, are you doing it based on your own conditions and on your own accord? Because if you're not, then I don't think that there is a point on making such a decision. Because at the very end of the day, the only person that will not lie to you or will not hurt you is yourself. But if you choose to take the action of wanting to hurt yourself, then it is on you. Nobody forced you to do it. A lot of people can bully you at the very same time. A lot of people can say mean things about you, but what you can control is your own reactions, is your own decisions, your own choices. And I think only through that you will realize that when you love yourself, you start to make healthier choices as well as healthier decisions to facilitate your life. And you will start to understand what are the things you love, who are the people you can sacrifice to because they don't matter, who are the people you love as well, what are your true passions, and what are the things that you will fight for no matter how hard it gets. So for me personally, self-harm gave me the adrenaline rush. It was the feeling of liberation, to be able to take control over my own actions. It gave me the scars, it gave me the pain that I wanted because I was so overwhelmed. I wanted to feel physical pain. I wouldn't call it a phase, because to call it a phase is to invalidate the fact that it happened. It's to invalidate the fact that it was a period of my life that I went through a lot. And saying that it's a phase means that it doesn't mean much. But it means much. It means something. It means that I used to be weak, but I'm stronger now and I'm better, and nobody can ever have the rights to say things about me that makes me feel like I have to put scars on my body in order to feel better about myself. But of course, some days things get tough. Things get tough and you aren't able to brave things on and tell yourself that it will get better, because ultimately it will get better. But some days it's bad. It's bad and you can't seem to draw the strength in yourself to tell yourself that things will get better. And that's okay. I think one of the most important lessons that I've ever learned on my journey to self-love is being able to understand that you have the rights to take a step back and tell yourself to cry. That it's okay to cry. There's nothing wrong with crying. You're not weak for the rest of your life just because you want to cry for a single second. And I think that's very important for people to understand that I'm still struggling every day. I first self-harmed when I was 14, It's been 6 years. And it's only been like a year plus since I officially stopped doing anything to myself. I haven't relapsed, whatnot, and I'm still struggling every day. There are days where I'm able to confidently go on Instagram story and reply to people's tells with a really sarcastic reply and tell them that you can go and suck a dick. But there are days where I struggle so much that I just have to put my phone down and have a good cry, because that's just the active choice I make, is the decision I make to not reply to people, to tell myself that my emotions are valid and that I deserve this cry right now because people are out there to get you. But when I'm done, I let go of those tears and I move on. Every day is a new challenge. Every day is something that you need to take on, you need to face, and you need to be brave. It's very important to understand as well that just because you show a sign of weakness, just because you were weak for a second, it does not discredit your journey, your self-love journey, does not discredit you as a person, doesn't discredit the fact that you have tried your damn hardest to be brave. It doesn't. And I want you to remember that, and I want you to understand that you are still strong, you're still brave, and you will always get better if you choose to be better. And before I end this video, I just want to leave you with one of my favorite quotes of all time. One must still have chaos in oneself in order to be able to give birth to a dancing star.